learn if you want to be rich.
Okay, action.
Oh, we're going?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh.
So, okay, I guess welcome everyone to our first podcast. We're trying out something new. I think it's going to be catered around, I mean, we can all throw stuff in there, but maybe entrepreneurship, maybe um, uh, a success mentality in whatever way, shape, or form as we mold it along the way. Um, Being financially free and independent and learning all the different ways of how to do that. I think they say two heads are better than one, but we got four heads over here, so it should be even better, right?
Yeah.
We'll introduce ourselves. My name is Kohusito.
I'm Julia. I'm Dana.
And I'm Tommy.
Yeah. So we're here today. We're going to start off with a topic. We'll go for maybe about 45 minutes to an hour, and then see what happens from this. And I'm really excited to see the feedback on this. So I guess I'll go first. The topic that I wanted to talk about, and we had a good conversation about it earlier today, was I guess I came up with things like poor people mentality. You know, like certain vocabulary that I would want to change because we're all in the life insurance industry, right? And so I know that we've all had our experiences with saying certain vocabulary and also being taught what vocabulary we shouldn't use, right? So, for example, I know I brought up you don't say life insurance. I would rather say, or I've learned to say protection, right? But I feel like protection after a whole year's worth doesn't have a type of pizzazz to it. And so this book that I'm reading through Russell Bronson about ClickFunnels and all these things, right? And branding and marketing and stuff. He brought up this one cool story that I saw where like it was about the Dove soap, right? And they call it a competition thing. So it's competition or collaboration. So the competition was they made themselves into a whole separate category of the soap category, and they're calling themselves, we're not soap, we're Dove, you know, and we moisturize, and we also just so happen to clean like soap. You know what I mean? So the competition meaning like they not only took themselves out of the big category to make themselves more unique, but now they're throwing rocks at the category they just took themselves out of, right? And so that made me think like, okay, what kind of ways can we change vocabulary up to kind of like take ourselves out of this life insurance industry, but kind of seem like, but we still are in it, but now we're using different words to kind of make like we still are helping people, but not using those terminology.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm particularly passionate about. I've always been very passionate about articulation and communication, finding exactly that, the right words to get the right message across. And when people hear certain words, whether we want to admit it or not, it evokes a certain emotion. So when we say words like protection, some of them may feel attacked because it's like, what, are you saying I'm not protecting my family kind of a thing? And we have to, obviously this isn't something that's going to be solved overnight. It's a whole process, and it's why people are taking years and years to master and learn it, because there are different kinds of people, and when you find certain words that work with certain groups of people, you can evoke the right feelings. It sounds very manipulative when I'm saying it out loud, but but it's true, because if people are going to have preconceived notions about what we have to give them, then what would change about their lives? Ultimately, I think that's because in addition to all being in the life insurance industry, we're all in our own fields. Most of us are in the medical field. One of us is in the auto body like trade industry, but we all see these commonalities of, if we use these kill words, so to speak, it will evoke the same negative emotions in these people regardless of what crowd we're talking to. And so yeah, I do agree that it's something we have to think about. So like when I think of life insurance, or when it comes to replacing these kill words, so to speak, something that I personally like to use is the word comfort. Some people, although I personally would in an ideal world love to use words like education and protection, even that is, just like you said, it's starting to lose its pizzazz, and it loses its meaning the more often you say it, whether for you or for the people you're talking to. So I personally like to use the word comfort because it also encompasses the people who are like, no, I know how to use my money. I'm financially literate. Yeah, but could you afford to have your life be a little bit more comfortable? And at the very least, it's something that has gotten people to think twice. Like, where am I not as comfortable now? Can I afford to make myself more comfortable?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know about you guys.
I like that word. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you feel warm and
Yeah.
like caring, like a family.
I realize there's a flip side to everything. So you can use the comfort or you can use pain. So which side do you feel, have you used both, or do you feel like you're going to try to choose one and see how it works and then
It depends who I'm talking to. With the people that I'm more close with, I'll use pain. So I'll just text them and I'll be like, hey man, can I be straight with you? Yeah, sure, of course. They'll always say yeah, even though they may or may not actually like the truth.
right?
They'll be like, yeah, no, tell me what's up. And it's like, you say you want your life to be better, but I don't see you taking the steps to do it. What's up? So that's me taking the pain approach versus people who I don't know as well. Obviously, I only want to give them good things. And so with them, I'll tell them, hey man, how comfortable is your life? So it is sort of, I guess even as I'm using the word comfort, it's still acting as a pain point where it's like, is that a sore spot for you that you are not at your maximum level of comfort? So I guess that answers the question. That I lean more towards pain, but sometimes throwing in comfort to make it easier to swallow. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes sense.
I'm glad you agree.
I mean, because, like, the experience that I had is, again, so I'm in the auto body industry, right? So you have anybody ranging from minimum wage all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, right? So you have people from the bottom of the bucket to the top of the bucket to like the, to where you're executive, all this other stuff, right? So the people at the bottom, and that's where I'm kind of targeting, right? Because there's like 5, 6 of them in every single shop, and they're young, or like they're similar age to Dana or slightly younger, and they don't know what's up or down. But then like
Which is
whenever
mid to low 20s, by the way.
So like whenever I hear them talk, they have like big ambitious like ways to like utilize their money. And it's not so much like, oh yeah, I can put it in a 401k, or oh yeah, I can put it in a life insurance policy and then generate cash value tax sheltered. It's nothing like that. It's like, I want a big ass house. I want like an 8-bedroom house and all this other stuff. I want like a R34 Skyline or stuff like that, where if it's a hunk of junk, it's still worth big bucks, like $30,000, $40,000. If you get the right one, hunk of junk, rusted and all, it's worth like over $100,000. And you're like, what?
Hunk of junk,
Wait,
are you referring to real estate?
No.
I think what you're trying
Skyline.
to say, if I'm
Skyline
understanding
is
you
a
correctly.
vehicle?
Nissan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, because they don't have clear set goals, they overvalue everything that's in front of them.
I think it's like they don't really understand the concept of how to make like the bait, or like how to get there. It's just like a thrown out there goal. It's like, hey, I want to be a millionaire. But then I'm gonna go blow all my money on like every single paycheck that I get. I'm gonna reduce it all the way to zero, whether it be like taking care of a dog or buying gifts for your other half, or like just spending it on stupid shit like door dashing, or when you don't have you don't have like the means to do that, right?
What do they say? If you don't have if without a plan, a goal is just a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everybody's just dreaming, or
Yeah.
at least the people
That's
that
what
I'm
it
talking
sounds
to.
like. Yeah.
So I want a big house. Okay, how are you gonna get there? Oh,
Yeah.
and like by the time in like 5 years or something like that, boom, I'm gonna become like a stevedore. It's like, how are you gonna become a stevedore?
I'm gonna become a
Stevedore.
stevedore. Yeah, totally.
Am I
I wanna
too
win the
young for that?
lottery.
What is a stevedore?
Matson.
So
Oh, they make a ton, yeah.
yeah,
But
so
you gotta
majority of
get in.
everything that comes in Hawaii is brought in how?
It's
Shipping,
imported,
and
yeah.
these are the guys that control the shipyards.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so they bring the Matson
Or the
containers in, they bring it
containers.
out. You know, like
Not
if
quite
they're
the shipyard, but the container part.
the
Yeah.
container part, yeah. So whenever they go on strike, like they could lock down the island if they wanted
So
to.
they're very
Chicken
well
becomes now $30 a
compensated,
pound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So they get paid a lot. That's one of those things like being a sitting county worker or stevedore, or it's one of those like you're kind of set if you win that job, but to
Yeah.
get into that job, you kind of got to get
Yeah,
brought
yeah,
in
yeah.
by somebody.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, well, Stevedore mainly. City County, you can kind of get in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stevedore is
Yeah.
very exclusive.
Stevedore is definitely, you need to know somebody to bring
Yeah.
you in. Yeah.
Good to know.
And it can't be like, oh, this is my friend. It has to be like, oh, this is my brother-in-law, or oh, this is my child.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Gotcha. Good to
Interesting.
know.
What's your
So
thoughts
on that, like, just to wrap up, like what you think before we go to Julia, how do you personally approach those people, the dreamers? How
Oh,
do you
just-
approach
it's
with
just-
comfort or pain?
I think I do comfort if they understand if they understand what's going on, like, or if they at least have an inkling, like, oh, hey, like, I don't know what I'm doing with like, if they have like a clue. But if it's just dreaming, it's like, oh, hey, I'm lost, but I know where I want to be. This is how I want to do it. And if they have that, or like they have like, or they're baby stepping it into it, yeah. I'll use comfort. I'll be like, oh, it's like a little itty bitty ember. Oh, okay.
You'll turn it into something bigger.
Okay, then
Look
we
what
got
I
the
have
fire.
created.
Yeah, then we'd be like Castaway and
Yeah.
oh my God,
Look at me.
Wilson.
Look what I have created. I created
But
fire.
versus the people who
Versus the people that like don't
The
have
dreamers,
yeah
pure
the
dreamers.
dreamers. It's like, yeah, dude, you kind of suck. You know? Because I mean that's how I got introduced to financial, like anything financially related, right? I almost lost my house. You know, I almost lost my house. Something I worked from, like I got it at 21, and it's something I worked really hard for. And 3 years later, I gambled it on a coin flip. You know, and after that hit me, like that set me back so much. When COVID hit, I could have had a 2% mortgage rate, but no, I'm stuck at 3.875, right? So forever that is $600 or $700 that I'm forever paying so long that mortgage is active.
So what I'm hearing you say is because you got slapped so hard with pain, you now know better.
Yeah, and then after that I changed my life around. I had like a 400 credit score. I had
Oh,
a
God.
400 credit score, right? And then
And you bought a house with that. That's impressive.
oh no, I had good credit score when I bought the house. And then when I did the coin flip, it all went away.
So when you almost lost the house, that's when your credit
Yeah,
score
and then I was like,
went up.
oh, okay, so now I'm getting my credit score. Okay, now what? Reduce the credit cards, or like, stop using your credit card so much. And then it just kind of just rabbit holed. Okay, what is a 401k, or what's a simple IRA for my employment? Okay, I'm gonna start putting into that. And then we started learning about that. Okay, and then we learned about what's a IRA, individual. Oh, then you start learning about that. Oh, you can only put $6,500 in there. But if it's traditional, it gets taxed. But if it's Roth, it's
So-
tax free.
So to simplify it,
Or
it
tax
sounds like
deferred.
Deferred.
it was the pain that forced you out of
Yes.
your comfort zone to learn about
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah. So like, I mean, nothing was. I mean, I got bits and pieces from other people and all that other stuff. People that are significantly more successful than I am, and then it kind of that kind of just became my foundation. I put into a 401k. I have an IRA, which I'm now excluded from for the Roth part. And then I have other investments that I'm trying to get into. Like I'm now hanging out with people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with people
Yeah.
that are like at least like-minded and want to do things and to make more money.
And I like
Yes.
that word you use, like to rabbit hole, like in a good way, where although you rabbit hole like a way into debt, you also rabbit hold your way out of it, where it's like I'm gonna struggle and crawl by for a little bit until you eventually, piece by piece,
Yeah.
rabbit hold into something
Yeah.
better.
Because like no matter what, I think if you're not willing to change or something doesn't like a bolt of lightning doesn't strike you or something like that, you'll just stay upon this linear path, and you're just gonna, from 1 year old to 18, you're school. Maybe a little bit longer, you school. But then but 18 on, you're an adult already. You're just working until 65, and then you retire.
So you might as well make the most of it.
So yeah, I mean, like, is that how you want to live though? Do I wanna go to school for 18 years or not 18 years, but like till 18, and then work till 65 just to die? Yeah, you can do some cool things along the way and stuff, but then wouldn't it be awesome to retire by 40.
Expand your goals.
Yeah,
Expand your
and
dreams.
then 40 to 65, I'm still healthy, active. I'm coherent. You know,
For real.
25 years of just traveling or doing whatever I want. If I want to go skydiving and Rocky Mountain climbing, yeah, so I can do all that,
All right.
right? I can do all that while I'm still able.
People that don't want to hustle, they're just, if to me it's like, if you don't want to hustle, that means you're following the safe path, and the safe path by numbers says you're supposed to work till you're 60, maybe 65, and then you're average to die in your 80s. So that means for about 12 to 15 years is how much you can do something fun, aka retire, right? If you
If
have
you're
the
not-
money.
If you're not disabled.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
you're not-
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in order to have fun, like
Yeah.
you don't want to do anything out of the ordinary. That means you're going to work for the rest of your whole life and only have fun for 12 to 15 years of that life.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I
there's
mean?
something to be said about, like, yes, medicine has advanced to the point that, yes, we live longer, so you'd think that those fun years are prolonged, but one, they're not, because that just means more years of, you being alive but not living.
Chances of being disabled or being needy is really high,
Exactly.
or going broke.
And
Yeah.
two, our world now moves, and this is something I love saying, our world moves way too quickly to live a successful life drawing from the safe path that our parents and grandparents did.
Mm-hmm.
So because our world moves too quickly to do that, we have to do something that moves just as quickly. And now we're at this path, this crossroads. Yeah, we're at this crossroads where are you going to take the safe path and take up more of the time that we have, to live now, just working, or are you going to keep up with the times and, take a faster but riskier path?
Mm-hmm.
Granted, manage your risk as you go, but don't go gambling all your stuff away. But, it's still something to consider that there are some investment vehicles that our parents or grandparents wouldn't approve of because they're not safe, but they are managed risk to keep up with the times.
Mhm.
Yeah, this world just moves way too quick now.
Yeah. Julia, what do you think?
I think there's a lot of things you can learn from the older generation. Maybe you think they never took risks, but I just learned that my great uncle, who's 92, did day trading with his retirement, so he could pay for his wife and his vacations, and he went and took her all around the world.
So you must have did good then.
Yeah, he was good. I said, "Would you teach me now?" He's like, "I have no idea." Oh, he's 92, so and he's still very healthy, and he took care of himself. And then there's like my auntie, who's probably just a little bit older than me, who's didn't take care and so broke her whole life and very unhealthy. So I have in my family two spectrums, two like ends of the spectrum. Like I can either die really early and be very unhealthy, or live long, and I just try to like absorb everything that my older generation didn't actually teach me, but I'm kind of uncovering as I go.
You're observing.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
have to dig it out of them. Like I have to,
Mm.
like for my uncle, I've never been close with him, but like I have conversations with him weekly and check up on him. And he's successful. Like he's, still living in his own house, and he's been like on his independence since he was 18. So in that aspect, he's successful, and he's not like needy. He has everything he really needs and money. So I want to use him as my role model now that I'm in my like my middle age, and just learn from that. I learned from my grandma too. And my approach to helping get people to understand about what's important to me about financial education and stuff is to use similar experiences, similar obstacles in my own life, because we're going through the same things. Right now, I'm gonna be a grandma, and some of my friends are grandparents, and I'm like, oh, are you okay with like how your kids are raising their children, and are you feeling like comfortable with their what their choices are, and what about your parents? What do you see what's going on with them? They're gonna be in a care home, losing their mind, being very argumentative. Do they have the funds to be able to pay for their care for the rest of their lives? do you have a plan for that, by the way? Like, what's your goals? And then my friend's hard head. Like, we've talked to her many, many times. But, you know, like, the more you just chip away and you just, like, get into their, like, what's their troubles, what's their burdens right now, and kind of relate with them, then she kind of understands me and, like, is opening up and more willing to taking into account my position on things, because it was an uphill battle. And I'm gonna, you know, I always am the advocate. I always try to research for somebody else and give them the best possible advice. And just because in the long run I'm gonna be able to not only help them and myself, but maybe others along the way. And I think that's the best thing. I think that's all our goals, actually.
Yeah. So, as far as mentality, would everybody give me your explanation of what you think, or what you think poor people mentality is? Like, what would you expect to hear from somebody? Like, say you just met somebody, and then you hear them talk. What are some things that would make you think, oh, this person has a poor person mentality?
Can I start as somebody who I'm pretty sure makes the least at this table?
Yeah, that doesn't mean nothing, you know. For
So
now.
I find that some of the things that come out of my mouth are things that I've heard other people in my tax bracket say. I've
Which is not age dependent, by the way. It could be
I know,
anybody.
that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
my tax bracket. It's not age. I found that we often say things like, I don't have time, I wish I could, but I don't have the money. And I'll save more for you guys, but those are my main ones where there are, so recently I started getting into personal development, or like Psy seminars, things like that. And so one of the things that, because you're ultimately paying for information, it's good information for yourself. And I'm willing to pay for that information. I have the time for that information. But what came out of my mouth was, I really want to, but I can't afford it right now. And I was like, oh wow, I sound like everybody else. And so I'm just very lucky that I was surrounded by people like you guys and other good people who, rather than just being like, oh, that sucks, they actively helped me brainstorm, okay, how can we help you get that money? Do you need somebody to help you think up ideas? Do you need somebody to help give you capital? Do you need somebody to help give you tools or life experiences? Do you need specific life experiences from where you've been to be able to understand things like that? So I think it's very important so to answer your question, poor people, or poor mentality often comes with an excuse of, I can't have that, and so it is the way it is.
There's no change to it.
Yeah, like maybe on the better end of that, you'll get people who are like, well, I just have to save up enough to do this. But like I said earlier, our world moves too quickly for us to simply save up enough. You have to like actively juggle maybe multiple sources of income. You maybe have to, live off of ramen for like 3 months just to be able to pay off certain things.
That's the sacrifice not many people are willing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a short time, too. They think it's going to be forever, right? So, what about you, Tommy? What you got?
So the poor mindset is this.
What is that?
This is an envelope.
Where did you get
I think I
that?
know where we're going with this.
I don't. Please tell.
I might be on the same track as you here.
Okay, so Dana,
What?
I'll sell this to you for $100.
I don't have $100. Okay, what's in it?
There.
What's in the envelope that's worth $100?
It's a check for $1 million.
For just $100?
But a lot of people would ask the question, hell no, it's just an envelope.
Oh, just like how I immediately said I don't have $100?
That's something I watched a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Which,
wow.
so
It was the
Interesting.
bucket thing, right?
No, it was in the bag. This
Oh,
one
a
was in the
bag. Okay, I can see what you.
Yeah, so it
anything
was,
else.
hey, I'll sell you this bag, $100,
Right.
or $1,000, or whatever it may be.
Wait, could you explain for us who didn't
I
see
think
this
the
video?
mentality is, rather than focusing on what's in the bag, they focus on $1,000. No, thank you.
And the surface.
The surface.
The
It's just the
surface.
surface. But what happens if you open the bag, and after he says no, he opens the bag and there's $100,000 cash in there?
I would have taken it.
You would have lost $99,000.
And I guess what he's saying too is like a lot of people just see it for what it is and don't question things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that kind of plays onto the I cannot versus how.
Yeah.
I think the how makes you think of a different way, and the different way in your aspect to make the point is what's in the bag versus like, oh, that's just a bag. Why would I pay for that? You know what I
Yep.
mean? That's the negative poor
Like,
mentality.
oh, I got
is,
both of those
Yeah.
in there.
So
I can see where you're going with
like
that.
so I think it has to all do with mentality.
Mm.
So like when like the conversation we had there's a difference in my opinion that there's a difference between poor and broke.
Mhm.
Broke is the circumstance, poor is the mindset, the mentality. Rich is the mindset and the mentality, and then wealthy is, well, that's also, I mean, yeah, I mean,
mentality.
yeah, a mentality. I mean, it can be associated with mentality or
Yeah.
the actual your situation.
Mhm.
So I think it just comes down to the mentality part. So like when you stop saying can't do this, can't do that, no thank you. Once you start saying no, once you stop saying no, and you say like light bulb, I'll take a look into that. Like life insurance, I'll take a look into that. You know, and then then I start hearing a whole bunch of things like the things that rich people do, like actually big boys or big boys and girls like Mac Daddies, they all have life insurance. But not only that, but they step it up into like another arc where they're not. It's not just life insurance anymore. It's a family trust into a life insurance underneath a C corp or some type of corporation, and then it gets distributed between personal and business, and then it goes into a tree of
But
like.
it starts from.
But it starts from that.
I
Right?
feel like my nickname for you is gonna be Alice.
Why? Oh, because the rabbit hole.
You're having a pattern of rabbit holes where, as long as you can open up your mindset to one thing, like really open it up, not just I'm gonna listen because you're my friend. Like actually just sit down and give yourself, just entertain yourself for this one time to just hear what you got to tell me. Then people are gonna understand that there's actually a lot of information over there that they're denying into their brain.
Yeah.
But once they allow that in, just one little piece of information is gonna jack them to the next step, into
Yeah.
the next step, into the next step. The Alice in the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
like you said, right? It sounds like how you did when you initially was trying to tell your friends, and it sounds like how you did for people to try to learn.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I just want to say that's how he met me as well. He was told to look into this life insurance company. He approached it with an open mind. He found new friends. He found a girlfriend. He found a whole new career path. He found people who are also invested in other investment vehicles like real estate and stocks, and
It's
so
awesome.
all that happens from having
Yeah.
an open mind.
Yeah.
Did you see
Makes
the movie
sense.
Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You
So
should watch that
basically,
movie.
it's-
Don't spoil it for him.
Never mind.
But you could be the yes man. So yeah, I mean maybe the basics of it is
The basic is I can't remember how, but he's like cursed where.
Wait.
Is it cursed? Or is
no,
it
he's
like
not
a
cursed.
self-development course?
He's one of these that's like kind of introverted. Like I don't want to do maybe how you were prior to
Oh,
everything.
I'm thinking of liar.
You know,
Liar.
oh no, I don't want to do this, or like, hey Tommy, we're having some drinks the other night. Oh no, that's okay. Or like, hey, you want to go out and do this and that? Oh no, I'm fine. You know, just making excuses to not do anything.
Yeah.
And then he went to a seminar.
A seminar. I
He
was
went to a
thinking of liar,
seminar, right?
liar. I realized
Similar
that's
to
what we got.
similar to Psy, and the whole thing is yes.
Say yes,
Just
yeah.
say yes to everything for a month. Just say yes to everything, right? And so like people were coming up with anything like, do you want to learn Korean? Yes. Do you want to do it? Yes. Everything is just yes, yes, yes. A homeless person came and like, hey man, can I get some change? Yes. You know, like, oh, hey, can I borrow your phone? Yes. You know, everything is yes, 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 right?
And granted, you know, because it is a movie, he gets himself
Yeah.
into some hijinks, and some of them he has to pay for. But ultimately, he like, oh wait, no, that is spoiling the ending. But basically,
There's
it's
a purpose to
exactly
it,
that.
yeah.
There's it goes down
Yeah.
a rabbit hole that sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you've opened yourself up to whole new experiences.
Yeah. You're just changing your trajectory.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
About it.
Paradigm shift. Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh, paradigm.
Yeah. So
That's a
I
big
learned that
ass
too on podcasts too. But what about you?
About poor people mentality?
Yeah.
I think that when I was young, had kids at 18, just thinking about what can we get next to entertain ourselves. What can we have right now to bring us joy and happiness, because I don't expect to get a lot out of life. Like, maybe I don't expect to be a billionaire or a millionaire. Maybe I just expect to like get a house, have the kids, have a simple life.
This is what your friends were kind of thinking,
This
you
is
said.
what my mentality was,
Mm.
and just to be the average household people forever, and just be keeping up with our family, or like the immediate family around me, and to always trying to be enjoying something but not actually obtaining higher goals. And I think around 30 I changed my mentality about like, this is okay, this is enough. And then I thought, we could do better. And just shifting into a mindset of like, well, this is a nice house, but I don't like the area anymore. And thinking about ways to improve it. But I think poor people would just be like, you know what? I got this life insurance from my so and so who died. I'm gonna buy a apartment right out. I don't care it's in the ghetto. I'm just gonna buy it because now I don't have a mortgage, or like no.
American
payments.
Dream says own a property. They don't tell you where.
Yeah.
Just own a property, right? But maybe because they were raised up in that neck of the woods, if you will, that I'm used to this, and
yeah.
I'm doing the American Dream. So that's right.
So,
It's
I'm
like,
good,
kind
right?
of attacked by all this.
I'm like, okay, we can leverage our house now. We can sell it, and we probably could buy 2 properties and rent one. And then the feedback I was getting was like, no, why aren't you satisfied with what you have? Like, why do you need to have another one? Do you think you're better than other people? Why are you trying to make more money than me? Or why are you shifting like this? This is not
This is
cool.
not you.
Yeah.
The
like-
crab in the bucket mentality.
Mhm.
Yeah, so everybody just wants everybody to be similar and the same and at the same level and have the same type of stuff. Maybe just a little bit better at certain things so you feel better about yourself, but yeah, just being average.
Yeah, that one hit me hard because like since I moved in with him, we've done this thing where we try to touch our dreams, so to speak. So we started looking around at really nice houses,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, can you imagine having a house like this?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's cool," but I wasn't really thinking about it because I'm still in that poor person mentality. I'm actively taking steps to get out of it, but when it really hit me when he asked me, "What kind of house do you want?" I was like, I can make do with a single room. I'm fine.
I know.
That's okay. That's okay.
Tire.
We're all,
Oh
that's
my
okay. We
goodness.
all started. You know what? When you say poor people mentality, we all started there.
Yeah.
We all started there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that, I mean, I really would love to dive into each one of them when the time comes later on. Like, what was that pivot? What was that? Because you're saying, like, you're surrounded by people, and then you're the one all of a sudden, you sit in your 30s, I think. We're like, no, I want something more.
Yeah, I want.
Like, what was that? You know, like, I would love to know. Each one of us has that, and I would like to know what each
I
one of that is.
remember when I first met Kohu, he's like so excited because he has this 1-bedroom condo. He's like, so you're super, and
Yeah.
you're proud, and there's no reason not
Yeah,
to
I
be
got
proud.
an American Dream. I want my
Yes,
place. Right.
he had his 1-bedroom condo. The first time I went in it, there was like 1 chair
I was starting off.
and an ottoman.
It was a plastic chair.
And, like mid
'Cause I got it free.
30s, and I'm like, he goes, have a seat, and I'm like, well, I don't want to take his seat. Where do I sit?
Hashtag furnished.
I'm your host. I'm gonna host you. I don't need to sit.
Oh, well, I wasn't aware. So, anyways, so then we started like seeing more of each other, and I was like, oh, let's go to this open house in Kahala because
Yeah.
it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like that's where my mind is. Like I want this one day. I want to have this. And he was like, we can't go in there. We can't afford it. I'm like, so what?
No, yeah, you're
These
right.
realtors,
You're right.
they don't care. They're there to do a job, and they want to have more people coming in. Let's just go. They don't give a shit. So we went in, and
Yeah,
it
I was just in my surf shorts and slipper. I'm like, they're gonna
Just
kick us
fun.
out. Like we're gonna look ghetto. You know what I mean?
we had so much fun. We learned about architecture. We
Oh,
learned
man.
about
Wow.
Yeah, we
like-
should all go. We should all like double date one day and like, cause she knows the days to go. We should just go drive Kahala to
not-
all the open houses and just go walk in there. You know, you guys go into your side, we go on our side, and just like what?
I love that.
I
Yeah,
know, yeah,
I
she
just
did
think
that.
it's, I'm not sure if it's a male thing, but he did the exact same thing. We walked into, I want to say either Toomey or some other store in Ala Moana. He goes, wait, how do I act in here? Like, I don't have the money to afford these things. I was like, nobody cares. It's a store. Just, first of all, you do have the money for these things.
I've never been into any type of like designer
I agree. I'm the
before,
same way
so it
too.
was really like you see people in suits and
Oh, yeah.
stuff, and you're like,
And you know they
Yeah.
make less than you, right?
Yeah.
I know,
It's
I
only
get that.
looks, yeah. It's
But
only
but
looks.
to me that's scary because you're like, oh
It's
shit, I'm
intimidating.
stepping into prestige now, right? And then I was like, I was dressed in normal clothes, like no, I mean, casual.
By casual, you mean your Lululemon t-shirt, your
Yeah.
Lululemon
Dude,
shorts,
think of
your
Japanese,
clothes.
bro. The Japanese will walk in looking like vacationers. You know what I mean? And you know they're there to buy, right?
Yeah.
Disclaimer, half of us are Japanese.
Yeah.
We're not just
Absolutely.
being racist.
Yeah, no, yeah, but true that, yeah. We don't need to mention it. But like, we're also Pake, so that's probably why we wouldn't need to walk in there, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's practically a store of liabilities.
Mm.
Yeah.
Fancy looking liabilities. That's all it is. You know, it's no different than Walmart. It's just more fancier.
Yeah.
You know, practically, right? Yeah, that's. Oh, I'm loving these stories. It's so awesome. But yeah, you did. I was gonna say that story if she didn't say it was how she turned me on to going into, like, multi-million-dollar houses, right? Like how when Ben said too, oh yeah, me and Karen like we drive around. I'm like, damn, that's what we like to do, and you know, it's just a location. That's all fluff too if you think about it. Because I remember these lights on these marble stairs going up, and they were in like they're what's it called recessed into the step, but they have it close to the wall so it shines up the walls like every third step or something. And I was like, that's fucking pimp, you know. But I thought, shit, we could do that. And so now it made me realize like all
we
this.
can have these things.
Yeah, all this is just gaining ideas, and you can totally do that at any place. You know what I mean? You know, like you could just make. And it reminded me of the brothers. I always bring this story up where like the brothers, they're
Property Brothers.
the Property Brothers. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that.
The
HGTV.
HBM? HGTV, oh my god.
Yeah. So
That's a
HGTV,
restoration
it's
company.
a property. They're called the Property Brothers, and one brother, they're twin brothers. One brother's the construction guy, and one brother's a real estate agent. So they'll bring in a couple, and he'll be like, oh, "Okay, what do you want? List out everything." Da 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 da. So he shows them like a house, and the house is fucking nice, bro. Like we got the fire pit you wanted. It's close to schools. We got the pool. We got the marrow. We got this big chandelier. Blah 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 blah. And so he takes them to the back, and he goes, "So how much do you think this house is worth?" And they give them what their price tag is, right? They say like 700, 800,000. You're like, this house is worth 1.2 million. They're like, what the fuck? They like freak out, right?
Which again, for mainland prices where the Property Brothers is based, that's like,
Yeah, exactly.
but here in Hawaii, it's just like, yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. But then, they're like, but we can take that and find a more cheaper house and make it look like that. So I'm like, well, fuck, bro. I mean, it makes me think like, that's like, it's all fluff. You know, it's like, it's only society boasting up the price of that area.
Yep.
It doesn't make that area any different from Waianae.
Yep.
You know, it's just
Because there's nice houses in
There
Hawaii.
is.
Yeah, there
so
are.
it's the opinions of the everybody collective that makes this side more expensive and this side not.
And not to mention, in again today's day and age, you're paying for the convenience.
Mhm.
In the houses like that are already nice as you get them, you're paying for the convenience of, oh, it's already made. I don't have to do it myself. But that little bit of effort goes a long way. That little bit of effort to open up your mind to what can I do with my house to make it look like that. That little bit of effort to, shop for places in areas that are more affordable and working them up to make them look nice, as opposed to paying for the fluff, for the convenience.
That it's already done already. Yeah.
Yeah, the premium.
And the location too, I guess. That really
Yeah.
plays into it too. Okay, so vocabulary then. What are some vocabulary or kill words that we're talking about here? Like, I know I like I said, I went down a rabbit hole, if you will, where I went from insurance to protection, and I thought protection, it doesn't have enough pizzazz, so I went through synonyms of protection, and then I got preservation?
No, it was
No, he brought up perpetuation.
perpetuation.
Yeah, but that was after, because he was bringing up that too, and we're gonna.
Perpetuity.
I think it was. I think
Because
it was
I thought-
preservation, because preservation in my mind thought like, oh, that's a great way to put together protection and long term in one word, right? Like when you preserve something, it's supposed to be safe for a long fucking time, right?
Yeah.
So I thought of that. That was a pretty good one. And what do we want to preserve? Bloodlines instead of family, right? Family is kind of boring now. So what's a more stronger thing to family? Bloodlines.
Family at this point
Lineage.
is just associated with Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
We took over a whole solar system.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah. So like bloodlines, lineage, those sounds a lot more regal for the
Yeah.
term family than family, right?
And
so
is regality what you're trying to appeal to?
yeah, I mean, I would, because if I'm talking to somebody, I want them to think that they're walking into a nice store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a Gucci bag versus a regular bag, right?
Practicality is not much different.
Yeah,
But it has Gucci on it.
yeah, you're fluffing that sucker up big time, right? So that's where probably branding comes in. We just
Yeah.
talked about branding as well too, right?
Mhm.
So that plays a big thing too. You know, I mean, I just came from Hilo, and my daughter was talking about burgers. Oh no, my nephew, he's like, oh, what do you think about In-N-Out Burger? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I mean, we all had our burgers and practically the same.
Mm.
It's just the branding makes it more expensive versus another burger
Yeah.
joint that's just around the corner in the hole, right? Hole in the wall. So, yeah, I kind of was thinking that what better way for me to try to experiment with ways that I can fluff up the words to make it seem more regal for them. If I'm talking to you and I'm using these words, like for example, if somebody from Gucci's just came right up to you, no matter what, like he came up to you and talked to you like you were meant to have this bag, no matter what you're wearing, wouldn't that be more? Oh, I feel good about myself versus like
Something from
You can't-
JanSport, Walmart.
you can't no like or
You
you
don't
don't
deserve
afford
this.
this.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
meant to be in this store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not sure if I've ever told you yet. This is just a tangential story where my dad was trying to help my little sister buy a car. He showed up after tennis in his slippers, tennis shorts, beat up tennis bag. Somebody straight up tells him, "Sir, you realize you have to have a minimum credit score to be in here, right?" And he's like, "I'm the one buying her a car." So yeah,
Exactly.
just on that topic of people looking at you like you don't deserve it,
Yeah.
it's better to tell people that inherently as they are worth it.
mhm.
And so I'm just gonna piggyback off of that. That's where I found the most success with my branding, because I come from a place of wanting to improve mental health for everybody around me, even if we're not particularly close. What little I can help with is something that I'm very passionate about. And where I found the most success is rather than saying, hey, protection or making more money or something like that, what I like to say is, where your finances, your financial decisions reflect literally what you value. Do you value yourself? And so I was talking to someone and I was like, do you think let's say Julia, I was like, do you think future Julia is worth it? Do you think future
Absolutely,
Julia is worth making this decision of putting aside money that will compound and be able to buy the house of your dreams? If you think future Julia is worth it, I think you should do this. But if you think future Julia will be in the same place as current Julia, then by all means, I'll let you do what you want. And I'm not trying to say that as a manipulative thing, because I genuinely want the people who I'm around to recognize their value. It's easier said than done for yourself though, but yeah, so I end up talking to people and I'm like, hey, you're worth something, right? Whether you want to put a price tag on it or something or not, the words you say matter, you matter. And I want you to show that, whether by taking an action or not taking certain actions, that will reflect who you are and what you value. So that's how I personally brand it. I come from a personal development kind of perspective.
Love it. It reminds me of this one a podcast that I watched, and I wanted to do this with our family at our Christmas party, but I was enthralled in the whole thing, and I totally forgot a bunch of things to do. But one of the things I wanted our family to do was to write a letter to ourselves, our year from now self. You know what I mean? And so, like, that would hopefully attach to goals that we want to bring up. So if we were able to bring up goals, and then let's write a letter to your future self. So in a year from now, we're gonna open it up and we're gonna see where we're at. You know what I mean? Like talk to your future self, right? And the story that I was listening to, and it was super like heartwarming, where like this one woman, she manifested everything in her life. She really believed in it, right? The Secret, which by the way is on YouTube, I really suggest, no affiliation to that by the way. And then Think and Grow Rich, you know, everything is all about manifestation, right? So she manifested all this to the point where she read her letter a year from now and she got everything she wanted. And she even said like, hey Jamie, I know you're sitting next to your man right now, and give him a big kiss for me and all that kind of. And she was like, she opened up the letter sitting next to him. When she wrote the letter, she had no person, no other half, right? So that's, I know that right there. And even the person that was interviewing her started kind of tearing up a little bit because it's super heartwarming, right? And so I was thinking, damn man, like that kind of ties into what I've read, where that, and then bringing up Tommy too with the young generation, they don't see that there's a future to them, right?
Yep.
If they knew that, if they could see the idea that there is a future them, then maybe they'll prepare that. They'll prepare their now them for the future them, right? So I mean, that might be one of those exercises. I know you talk about personal development, where maybe, you know, we could do it too, where we'll write a letter to our year from now self, and you know, what are we gonna do? And another thing too that I saw too is that I want to try to do, and I'm the I'm the kite and Julia's the rock, right? So I came up with these crazy ideas, and one of the things that you have is to write out 300 goals,
Oh yeah, that
right?
one.
If you can write out 300 goals for 2024, anything and everything. I mean, even if it's stop doing this or to do this or whatever's, right, on both sides. And then by the time this day next year comes up, how many of those did you check off? Right? Because little wins make a big thing, right?
300 is a lot, so
Yeah.
I guess that means you have to be real specific with each of them.
Yeah, or you could be general, whatever. So, I mean, almost to the point where like you might even forget what you did, and you're gonna kind of like repeat it, but in a different way, right?
Yeah, they'll definitely overlap, but
Yeah.
then enhance maybe.
Absolutely, you know.
And then you can feel better, although you might feel weird writing it twice now, to be able to check off two things
Yeah,
later
yeah,
in the year.
Yeah, and then they say every night you look at that list, and then that's gonna build more more neurons, I guess, to start brainstorming how to do that.
Yep.
You know, like what I got out of it. So I'm only up to 30 right now. It's really hard to get that 300, but I mean, I'm up to 30 already. I already know that I'm gonna like really start digging into my calendar. You know, like I mean, there's so much things I want to do, but I
Because
kind
that's
of
how we end up reverse engineering our
Yeah.
goal. That's how we achieve them. You start with the very general goal, and then when you specify that goal as much as you can, then it's like, okay, let's say I want to have a property in Italy overlooking this kind of view. Okay, you start looking up how much are those properties now. If maybe you really want to get technical with it, how much would that be in a year from now with inflation? You know, with a property of this many acres. You know, how much would that be? How much do you make now? How much can you set aside to accumulate for that? Can you make that progress any faster?
Absolutely,
Kind of
yeah.
a thing. I love that.
I know that you said mindset is definitely one of those things about poor people. So, with a rich mindset, opposite of that, what would be some things that,
A rich person would say.
yeah, what would be the
Vocabulary
mentality of that? What would be action? What would be, I mean, I guess I'll start off. A rich person's mentality is action.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because like poor and rich will have dreams and goals,
Yes.
but rich seems to be the one that will put action to it.
Yep. They streamline
Yeah,
it too.
I just put a post up the other day. It says 1 ounce of action is greater than a pound of thought or knowledge. You know, an ounce of action is greater than a pound of knowledge.
Yeah.
Game of inches.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
why don't you explain that to them? Because I don't think that's something you've shared with them.
I've never heard that.
What?
Yeah, this is the first time I heard
Oh.
you say it.
Okay.
So he likes, just as context, he likes getting a lot of his inspiration from like movie quotes, whether he's seen the movie or not. He'll
Oh
just
my
find
God.
these movie clips.
I
and
don't
he
know
loves
anybody
trying-
else who does that.
So which movie is this from?
Okay. So oh,
I don't know
shoot.
anybody else who does
I
that.
forgot. I
I don't
forgot
know
what movie
either.
it's from, but it's Al Pacino.
Is it the only Al Pacino badass movie I can think of is Scarface?
No,
No, it's
about football.
yeah, it's about football.
Oh, of course. I was thinking it's gonna be a sports thing, but you
Yeah.
don't seem like a sports guy.
I'm
He's
not.
not.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
so it's that speech when he's in the locker room.
Mm.
I didn't watch the movie,
yeah, I told
but I
you.
watched the speech. so like random times throughout, I guess like my life.
This is just him paraphrasing the
Yeah.
quote.
I just like look up motivational stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I do the thing.
You know what I
Yep,
mean? Like
absolutely.
hey, if I'm brushing my teeth or if I'm like just like sitting on the toilet or whatever,
Yep,
maybe
yep.
just or like if I'm like tired and I gotta go to I gotta go to sleep right after work or something or before I go back home, I just listen to like some motivation or like movie quotes or some stuff. So
And
one of
that's
the
you expanding your mind,
Yeah,
by the way.
That is.
yeah, the more prominent ones was Any Given Sunday, and he basically talks about this game of inches. And in my opinion, anyone that's successful or anyone that dug trenches could kind of relate. Not literally, but like
Mhm,
you know,
Hustlers.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Anyone that got got shat on or anything like that, and then they got out of it, that sort of stuff. So he basically talks about life's a game of inches. So is football.
Mhm.
He talks about even though these increments are so small, all it is for every inch, eventually it becomes a whole football field. Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So for every inch, all it is, it's
Doing good. Probably about 9 more minutes. We'll wrap it up.
okay. So he talks about 1/2 step too quick or too slow, you don't quite make it, and then the other one was a 1/2 second too early or too fast, you don't quite catch it. You know, life's a game or like.
That's you not getting the inch.
Yeah. So like, all these inches are right in front of your face. All this other stuff, right? So like every inch is progress, right? So just it relates back to your ounce,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
Every inch is progress, and then the people around you, they'll do whatever it takes to get that inch
Mhm.
and all this other stuff. So and after a while, you have so many inches or you have so many miles, right, of progress ahead of the other person that just went the path,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
You did all this stuff, right, and you just came out so much more ahead. Where the enemy team or the person that you're going up against or whatever it may be doesn't even have a chance. They don't even have a clue, no inkling of like an idea as to how strong you are, and that's because all the time that you've been spent just gathering those inches.
That sounds awesome. I mean, when I was in football, and I was not really good at it, but I remember my coach saying nickels and dimes. You know, nickels and dimes. Nickels and dimes really refers to 5 yards, 10 yards, right? But yeah, any little bit will add up to $1. You know, which is the whole field.
Yeah.
Practically. So, yeah, and then of course, I mean, to add on to the rich mindset, is that action, but also learning from it. You know, because everybody they can go the same amount in a straight line, but that's a comfortable route, and it's a brainless route.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say like that's literally like just on a medical tangent. I love that there are so many things in our body from the squiggles in our brain, the gyri to be specific, the squiggles in our brain to the weird shape of our ears to that auricle around our heart.
Oh.
When things are not in a straight path, it makes more space. It makes more surface area. That's why our brains, like, the more wrinkled they are, the more space they're in the same, like, square inch of brain, where the more wrinkled brain has more surface area, more connections, more experience, more inches, as opposed to the one that is less wrinkled.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Did you know that the lungs, if you were to open it up, it could stretch a whole tennis court?
Oh wait, I thought that was the skin.
No, I think it's the lungs.
Oh, that's crazy.
Is it the lungs?
I think it's
I know.
We don't know
I feel like it
anymore.
was. I know it's something in our body. Whether it's the lungs.
Disclaimer, it is 3 people who are debating about this
Yeah.
are in the medical field.
I feel like it's either the
I
lungs
heard something
or
about
the
the
intestines.
arteries and the veins like spanning out like thousands of miles.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like
arteries
that.
your
and veins is thousands
intestines.
of miles.
Intestines, yeah, can
Intestines are
expand.
pretty long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
intestines are pretty long. I think the tennis court is the skin.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I'm like, your lungs?
We can fact check this.
yeah. But either or.
I've been teaching my EMT. Please listen to the lungs, on the lungs, not on the back.
Yeah, that's my butt. There's no lung sounds in my butt. Yeah, that's too low. Too low. All right, so I think we're gonna close up this. Does anybody want to have any extra as we close out any.
Plugs or shout outs. Do you have an Instagram or anything?
I just recently changed my Instagram to something a little bit more personal. So before it was Nani Ka'ala, which was like all about my weaving, but now I'm diverting it more to just my whole life. So I have it life with Ka'ohu, with underscores in the middle of each word. Life with Ka'ohu, yeah. So I just
My
add more stuff with it.
Business Instagram is Dana Noe Medina, so DANANOE Medina.
Mhm.
So that's my Instagram.
Awesome.
Well,
You got
shit,
Instagram?
I don't have social media.
You
Call
have
me
you,
Noe
you have a. I think you have an Instagram. You
I
He
do,
does,
I
and
do.
he has you added on it, but
Yeah.
that's his personal one, which I don't think he wants to shout out.
Yeah, and I don't really use it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
just uses
then-
it to look at his movie quotes.
Yeah, get right.
Hey,
Educated
that's a brand,
Sunday.
bro. That's a brand. Yeah. What about you?
And then just my website, Auntie Margaret's Care Home Finder, which I'm still working on. But I feel like I have hope because I found another website with similar content. But yeah,
We can talk about that another time. I
yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We're gonna try to meet up every week. We'll go about an hour or so, and then just talk about things just like this. You know, I can't wait for us to dive even deeper into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, awesome. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. And action.